Welcome back to another episode of the Bedrock Guide. And today, we're going to be talking about the delightful, the delicious Minecraft food. But before I get to the topic of food, we're going to head back over to spawn, or maybe we'll stop right here, because this does look like a good spot. I need to gather a bunch of stone, and coincidentally enough, there is coal here. I need a bunch of that as well. Before we can figure out which food will keep me best alive in the early game, we need to talk about the mechanics of hunger. The hunger bar can be found at the bottom of the screen with the icons that look kind of like chicken legs. There are 10 of those little chicken leg icons that equal 20 hunger points. So each hunger icon is worth 2 hunger points. I briefly mentioned this in episode 1, but to be more specific, hunger directly affects a few aspects of the player's well-being. For example, if you've taken any damage, that health will be regenerated as long as your hunger is at 18 points or higher. If it falls below 9 chicken legs, no more regeneration. Hunger, when it falls to 6 points or below, will prevent the player from sprinting. So if you're out late at night and you got a baby zombie chasing you, make sure you're not hungry or he's gonna catch you pretty quick. And worst of all, when it falls to 0 points, the player will start taking damage because of starvation. This particular mechanic is affected by the difficulty selector, and since I'm playing on hard mode, if I leave my hunger at 0 for too long, my health will also drop to 0 and, well, that'll be that. Basically, don't starve. When I say that I've been wandering all over the world, I started there, wandered over there, all the way to spawn, back to here, over to there, all the way around there, and finally made my way back over to this little clump of stone to find the next material I'm looking for. Now I can't even find it. Ah, there it is. I have found some surface iron. And actually, I only need 3, so we're lucking out. We got 2 extra. Oh my! You guys almost just witnessed the first death of this series. We're not gonna do that today. It's not gonna happen. Don't get your hopes up. I've already had like 6 close calls in this world, and I'm still alive. In all seriousness, there's a ton of different places you can find iron, but we're not gonna cover that today. I just wanted to find a couple of pieces real quick because my next problem is this. I want to put my crop farms up here somewhere, and all of the water is down there. So I'm going to take 1 piece of coal and all 5 of these iron. I'll just go ahead and smelt all of them, and then I can go ahead and grab all 3 of these iron ingots, put them into the crafting table in a little V shape, and that will give me a water bucket. Well, not just a water bucket. You can put other things in it, but for now, it's a water bucket. And now the problem of transporting the water has been solved. But you know what the next problem is? I don't actually have a farm to put the water in, and for that, I need some more materials. If you take cobblestone and toss it in a furnace, if you let it cook long enough, you're gonna get a nice, beautiful piece of stone, which is perfect because I need stone for today's build. If I head out this direction, I'm gonna find the next material that I need. This is a dark oak tree, and might I say, it is the most beautiful of the oak trees. And this is a spruce tree. While it's not on the same caliber as dark oak, it's still a very close second. So while we're over here, I'm gonna grab some spruce and we'll head on back. Quick hot tip for you. If it's your first time collecting a particular tree, always bring saplings back home. You never know when a biome is gonna be like several thousand blocks away and you're gonna have to go back. Thankfully for me, my dark oak forest is over there and the spruce forest is right there, and there's just a ton of it around, but that may not be the case for you. So it's always a good idea to plant some trees back home. Before I set up my crop farm, here are some important farming tips you need to know. Farmland is created by taking a hoe and using it on dirt or grass. Farmland can also exist in 2 different states, dry or saturated. Crops can grow on either, but they will grow a lot quicker on saturated farmland. Also, if you leave your farmland dry with no crops planted, it's just going to revert back to dirt over time. Starting from the water source, you can go 1, 2, 3, 4 blocks away, and all 4 of these pieces of farmland will become saturated. You can also create farmland in a square pattern like this, and every block within this 9x9 area will become saturated as well. So basically, 1 water source can saturate 1 9x9 farm. If you want to farm larger than this, you need more water sources, which is not a big deal. We can make that happen. And speaking of making it happen, yes, yes, I've got a completed farm for the most part. Now, it's not quite the same shape that we demonstrated in the quick tutorial. We are missing out on 6 blocks on each corner, but I like my circles, okay? Get off my back. I love the circles in Minecraft, even though it's a game made up of squares. The other thing we're missing out on as well is there's a lot of overlap in the middle with each of these water sources. We could have made this farm even bigger, but I think this is a great size. You remember that stone we had going in the furnace earlier? I'm gonna go over to my crafting table and I'm gonna take it and we're gonna create some stone bricks. I wanna create a nice border around this farm. Remember how I had a couple extra pieces of iron earlier in the episode? Oh, it's gonna come in handy now. I'm gonna take 3 pieces of stone and 1 piece of iron to create a stone cutter. Now, let's compare these. If I take 1 piece of stone and put it into the stone cutter, I can get 1 stone brick or 1 stone brick stair. If I do this through the crafting table, it comes out to be the same for stone bricks. 1 for 1, 4 for 4. Math isn't that hard if you really think about it. Here's where it gets a little bit more tricky. 6 stone bricks equals 4 stone brick stairs. What a ripoff! Why would you ever use the crafting table for this? And honestly, even in the early game, it's so easy to get one of these. Don't waste your materials. I'm not done decorating this farm just yet, but now that it's functional and protected, I'm gonna start planting some crops. I would suggest that when you plant your crops, you alternate rows. You don't have to do this. If you like the aesthetic of having all of your crops the same in your farm, then by all means, go ahead. But remember how we were talking earlier about how water saturates the farmland and makes these crops grow faster? If you put 2 rows of the same crop right next to each other, they're actually going to slow down the rates. And honestly, efficiency is much more preferred in the early game for this kind of thing, so it's my absolute 100% recommendation. Go ahead and alternate your crops. And I mentioned that we are protected from things coming in and stomping all over our crops like that cow over there, but it's not quite protected from us. If I happen to fall in any of these water sources and I jump up, there is a potential that I could break the farmland and break the crops, which is really sad. So to solve that problem, all you gotta do is put a trapdoor in the water source. It will waterlog it. It will not delete the water. It's still there. And now we have no risk of falling in. We can walk right over it with no problem. And we can also put some torches directly on top, which will help these crops to grow even at night. So I have 2 of the 4 crops that I want to grow today. I need another farm to plant the other 2. So I'm going to do a little bit of decorating and I'm going to build that other farm. And with the magic of editing, you don't have to wait a single second to see the results. I now have 2 crop farms and not just 1, and each of them have been decorated and textured with a variety of blocks ranging from cracked stone bricks to regular stone to cobblestone. I even mixed in some of that spruce wood we got earlier. I wasn't sure if I was going to use it, but I actually quite like this. It doesn't look run down, but it looks like it's been here for a while and well loved and well used. I don't quite have all of the beetroot filled in just yet, but I do have 4 crops. I've got wheat, I've got beetroot, I've got potatoes, and I've got carrots. And now we can finally start talking about which food is the best early game source in Minecraft. And in order to start talking about it, I need to get hungry. So just give me a minute to run around like a crazy person jumping in circles. You can't tell me you don't do this in Minecraft. It's the most relaxing thing in the world, like literally just aimlessly wandering and jumping. If you don't do this, give me a good reason why in the comments right now, because you're crazy. Okay, I'm good and hungry. Let's talk about how we got there. There are several ways that you can get hungry in Minecraft. One of them is running around like a crazy person and sprinting and jumping at the same time. That'll make you hungry real quick. You also get hungry by doing certain basic actions like mining a block, or if you take damage from a monster or something like that. Lots of ways that you can get hungry. You also might have heard the term saturation floating around when talking about hunger in Minecraft. If you haven't, basically all you need to know, there's a lot of math involved, but it boils down to how quickly your hunger depletes based on which food you ate last. So which of these 4 crops are gonna do the best for our hunger and keep us from getting hungry longer? First up is beetroot. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna chuck it off the list. It's worthless. Here's why. We take a beetroot and we eat it. We get 1 hunger point. That's 1/2 of a chicken leg on the hunger bar, okay? It's terrible. Don't eat it. The other option we have with beetroot is to go in and craft a bowl and 6 beetroot to make 1 beetroot soup. This will actually restore 6 hunger points, which seems like a good thing on the surface, but it took us 6 beetroot to get there, so we didn't gain anything by creating the soup. And it's not stackable in the inventory. So you're gonna be carrying around a bunch of bowls until you eat them and can stack the bowl. It's just not worth it. Throw it away. Garbage. The next option I have available is wheat. And while you can't actually eat wheat by itself, you can craft wheat into bread. All you need is 3 pieces of wheat and you'll get 1 piece of bread. 1 piece of bread will restore 5 hunger points, which on the surface, again, it's not bad until you break down the math. That's a little over 1.5 hunger points per piece of wheat, so it's not much better than beetroot. Throw it away! Garbage! Next up is potatoes. And I'm gonna go ahead and spoil the surprise for you. It's not good. Kind of. If you eat a raw potato, you're gonna get, that's right, beetroot quality hunger regeneration. 1 point. 1/2 a chicken bone. And furthermore, the raw potato has the absolute worst saturation of any of these crops. Don't eat raw potatoes. However, as opposed to these other crops, we can take a potato and stuff it in a furnace and get a baked potato. And while that's cooking, time to get hungry again. You guys really not do this? Really? Maybe this is why I fall in 1x1 holes all the time. Nah, that can't be it. After a nice long jog around the crop farm, I'm hungry again. And I've got 8 baked potatoes in hand. If I go ahead and crunch, crunch, crunch on one of them, I'm gonna get 5 points of hunger restored. Not only that, the baked potato has a pretty decent saturation ratio, so far, this is looking like our front runner. But what about carrots? If I run around and munch on a carrot, I'm gonna restore 3 points of hunger. That's honestly pretty good. And if we're super early in the game, like the first couple of days, I would say carrots are the absolute best way to go. Aside from planting them in the ground, they don't cost you any resources to eat. Baked potatoes, you gotta have coal. But considering that we built a crop farm with a bunch of crops, we're going to assume that we're past the point where we don't have access to coal. So if these are our only options, I would say baked potato. That's the best option we have to go with at this point in the game. A lot of you are probably going to say in the comment section, no, carrots, carrots, carrots. Let's get golden carrots. Well, we're not at that point yet in the game. We're talking about early game. Golden carrots are the absolute best food in Minecraft when we are considering the end game options, but we are not anywhere close to that. So golden carrots are not a thing right now. Strike it from the list. But as you can see, we got a couple of other things wandering around the area, and I think that's gonna call for a couple of more farms. In addition to the 2 crop farms, I now have 4 separate animal pens. 1 for cows, 1 for sheep, 1 for our good friend Mr. Pig over here, and one for our chicken. I have several different crops in my inventory that we've already talked about for food sources, but they serve more of a purpose than just that. I see a pig friend over here, so we're gonna start with the carrots, the potatoes, and the beetroot. Pigs have a very big appetite, and they can eat all 3, and if you hold them up in front of you while you're near, they will follow you for all 3. If I try to lure them with wheat, they're not gonna come over. Same thing with seeds, but as soon as I hold up one of these, carrots, potatoes, or beetroot, oh man, they are interested again. All we gotta do is bring them inside and then close up the fence, and this is your forever home. If I feed a pig a carrot, or a potato, or a beetroot, you'll see these little hearts popping up, and you'll see another baby pig appear. It's magic! Cows and sheep actually do not care one bit about carrots, potatoes, or beetroot. He doesn't care at all about those things. He only wants grass and wheat. Just like cows and sheep, chickens are picky eaters as well. They don't care about wheat, they don't care about carrots, they don't care about potatoes or beetroot. They just walk away from it and say, give me something better, Blue. I got you some seeds right here, bud. Come on with me. Let's go to your new home. Just don't go too quickly or far away from them because they will get shy. And they'll lose interest and they'll walk away. Hey, come here. Oh, come on. I'm right here. No. Look at me. Don't look over there. Look at here. We're going to your new home. Woo-hoo, yeah. Welcome home, chicken. Another interesting fact about chickens, they do lay eggs and drop them on the ground. And if you throw one, you might hatch a baby chicken, but that one didn't work. But if you don't happen to get a chicken from the egg, you can breed the chickens with seeds, and you'll end up getting a baby chicken. Now, I've got duplicates of all of the animals now except for the cow. And if you know anything about Minecraft, you know the #1 rule is when you're looking for something, Minecraft will not give it to you. So, allow me to run around for about an hour trying to find a cow. Not a cow. Oh, whoa, hello. Hi. Come with me, please. I'm gonna be honest with you guys, that actually didn't take an hour. It took about 15 seconds. Maybe Minecraft is finally learning to give us what we need when we need it. All right, we're just gonna bust down the door and let you into your new home, okay? And once again, if you feed Mr. Cow and Mrs. Cow, you get a baby cow. And now, we've got a nice little animal farm going. I don't have a lot of excess crops just yet, but just for demonstration purposes, if you're impatient and don't want to wait, you can always take some wheat like this and feed a baby cow until they become an adult cow. And if you have a lot of baby cows growing into adult cows, you can make more and more and more cows and sheep and pigs and chickens and all the stuff. I'm gonna be a little careful though with how many chickens I'm breeding up, because once they all become adults, I don't want like 300 eggs just laying here at all times. So I'm just gonna make sure to control the chicken population just a little bit. The great thing about farming animals is that for the most part, they give you multiple drops. For example, if we go over here and take our sword and give the chicken a little pat on the back, look that way. We're gonna get some chicken and a feather. And what rhymes with feather other than leather? That's what you're gonna get if you go and smack a cow. You're gonna get some beef and some leather. And I don't have a fancy fun rhyme for this one. So wool, that's what you get if you go ahead and take out a sheep, and you also get some mutton. And last but not least, these guys, they take all of your different types of crops, but they only give you one thing. Pigs will give you pork and nothing else. I'm gonna go far away over here so I don't hurt their feelings while I'm doing this. That's just cruel. But let's talk about the different meat options we have in Minecraft. I've gathered chicken, mutton, pork chops, and beef, and all four of these options are both edible in their raw and cooked forms. It's probably not a shock to you to know that it's better if you eat it cooked. I'm gonna save the chicken for just a second, but if I eat the raw mutton, I'm gonna go ahead and get 2 hunger points restored. So 1 chicken leg on the hunger bar. If I eat the raw pork chop, it's going to restore 3 hunger points, which is 1.5 chicken legs on the hunger bar. And if I eat the raw beef, it's also going to give me 3 hunger points on the hunger bar. Chicken is the odd one out because you can eat it raw, but you absolutely shouldn't. I don't know if it's gonna work here or not, but we'll see. If you do happen to eat raw chicken, you will get 2 hunger points restored, but you have the chance of gaining the hunger status effect, which thankfully we didn't. I just have to go in circles and keep jumping to get my hunger to go back down, just so we can talk about these last 4 options. And while we're doing that, let's make some honorable mentions as well, because there are other food sources in Minecraft. Some of them we don't necessarily have access to yet, or they're just not worth talking about. Like this, for example. Rotten flesh is dropped from zombies. It's not worth eating. You're gonna get sick if you eat it. It doesn't give you much hunger back. Just don't eat it unless you have to. There's other options as well, like rabbit, if you can catch one. They're pretty fast. Or chorus fruit, which is found in the end, which we're not gonna get to for a while, so it's not an early game option. But one other one that is an early game option is sweet berries. I wouldn't necessarily recommend those as your early game food source, because carrots are probably about as easy to find as sweet berries, and sweet berries are limited to a spruce forest. So unless you happen to spawn there, or you happen to go and find one and live there, you're more than likely not gonna find sweet berries before you find carrots. So now that I'm good and hungry again, let's talk about the cooked meat. If you eat cooked mutton, you are going to regain 6 hunger, which is 3 of the chicken legs on your hunger bar. If you eat cooked pork chops, you're going to regain 8 hunger points, which is 4 on the hunger bar, which is absolutely massive. When you eat a piece of cooked beef, also known as steak, you're going to get a whole whopping 8 hunger points, which is 4 chicken legs on your hunger bar. And speaking of chicken, that's the last meat we have to demonstrate. If you eat chicken, unfortunately, it's my favorite in real life. I absolutely love chicken, don't get me wrong. Steak is fantastic as well, but I love me some chicken. Does it stack up to steak? When you eat chicken, you're gonna get 6 hunger back. So unfortunately, it doesn't quite stack up. Now, here's the question. If you have to choose between pigs and cows. Which one is better? Because it's obviously not chicken, it's not mutton. Pigs and cows will restore the exact same number of hunger points, which is 8, and they have the same saturation value, which is honestly one of the highest saturation values in the game, meaning when you eat steak or pork, you're not going to get hungry for a while. So if these two are exactly the same, how do we determine which one's the best? Well, we talked a little bit earlier about how the pigs are a little stingy with their drops. Yeah, I'm looking at you. Walk away. Cows, on the other hand, will give us food and leather, which in my opinion gives them the slight edge above the pork. The other thing to consider as well is that baked potatoes are the best crop option, and to get the most out of them, you have to smelt them. But if you're gonna go to the trouble of smelting baked potatoes, you may as well just go after the meat. It's the best food option, there's no doubt about it. So there you have it. Go ahead and grab yourself some steak. Confirmed, the best early game food source in all of Minecraft. Whether you agree or disagree, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments section. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next episode of the Bedrock Guide.